Hey YouTube, this is The Art of Prepping. On April the 1st, the movie I Am Legend is going to be on Netflix. So if you have Netflix and you want to watch like an apocalyptic type of movie that you can learn from, you might want to check it out. The movie might not be for everyone. Yes, there's zombies. I'm personally not really into zombies, even though like my last video I had a zombie theme. Sometimes zombies can be useful to kind of connect with other types of people that don't like to connect with or have a hard time connecting with the mainstream prepper message of preparedness. And so, like, I just look at the zombies as individuals that have been, infected with a pandemic. And that's just, I'll leave it at that in this movie. And otherwise, I really try to pay attention to the main character, which is played by Will Smith. And the main character goes through various things that someone would have to probably deal with if you were in this situation for real. And that would be isolation, trying to figure out your priorities of survival, figure out, do you have enough material support, scavenging, survival skills, risk behaviors, are there some things that are worth the risk and some things not? What would you do with your free time? What happens if you get injured? And just the mental strain of all of this going on, PTSD, acute stress, and so forth would probably be prevalent in a real major calamity like a pandemic, like this movie, is portraying. And so I think it's useful. The movie is useful. In various ways, for those who are trying to get other people into preparedness, this might be a way to ease them into it. And so everybody's different though, and everybody, connects with different things. But I just wanted to mention this because I think it's a pretty interesting movie when you really take it to heart, and there are other movies that are somewhat apocalyptic, but some of them are like really intense and just really depressing. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know. It's not for everyone either. You can go too far with some of this. And there's another movie called The Road, and I've talked about it before, but The Road is really a dark movie. It's depressing and sad, and it's just like, wow, you feel so helpless, There's like no hope at all at times during the movie. At least that's how it feels like to me. And those kind of movies might be just too intense for the average non-prepper, to really get anything from. They just may be turned off on the whole idea. They'd be like, well, if it's the end of the world, then who cares? I'll just rather die than suffer. But of course, the main idea here is that if you have the hope, you may find a solution so that you can live and prosper. And so I think a movie like I Am Legend is more in the middle. It's not too intense, but it's not pretending that there's no challenges out there, and that, if you were in a survival situation, everything's fine. It's definitely going to tell you that you're not fine, or you have, potential challenges that you have to work through. But it's a nice middle ground movie for the general population. So I just want to mention this, and for what it's worth. And so I'm going to try to check it out when it comes on Netflix, but because I haven't seen it for a while. And there is something to that movie that it connects to me on some level. Like, wow, how horrible would it be, to be like isolated for a period of time like that, and having various types of threats around me, and having to constantly look for resources to survive. I think it just kind of hits you on a core level if you allow it to. And I think that movies like that are pretty helpful. And even though I would still prefer a movie that was based on complete reality, and didn't have zombies involved, I would have to say, though, that I don't think a lot of people would watch it, if there wasn't a little bit of science fiction involved. And so sometimes science fiction can get more people involved with the whole concept of preparedness. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who watch the movie and they don't even think about preparedness afterwards, but I think if you reflect upon, the main character and what would have helped the main character if he had certain things before all this happened, you'd probably be more inclined to do a few things personally to be a little more prepared. And I know I did. When I first watched the movie years ago, I was like, whoa, I was taken back by it. I was like, wow, I definitely need to store more food. That was the first thing I thought of. And then secondly, I was like, wow, if there is a pandemic, how can I isolate myself from that pandemic? I mean, how can I protect myself? And so I looked into some things to do to prevent exposure. And so the movie for me was beneficial. And so if you've never seen the movie, you might want to check it out. If you have seen it, you might want to watch it again, but just make sure to put yourself, in the main character's positions and really just ponder over what would you do if that happened to you.